Good afternoon and welcome to Good Journeys Tarot. Thank you for being here, Sunflower. You brighten my day. I am so glad to be able to tell you that the good have a copy of it over on Make Playing Cards. Just visit my link tree or my website, Good Journeys Tarot, to click the link for my decks. And you'll be able to grab a copy. I tried to keep the cost as low as I could while giving you what I pictured for my deck. There were some compromises, and we'll talk about some of those as I show you the deck and some of the changes since the first printing test print that I did. This whole journey started 17 years ago when I started reading the tarot. And the first thing I ever did was I read a bunch of different websites and Joan Bunning's book, Learn the Tarot. And I made a spreadsheet condensing my understanding of the cards from looking at the pictures and all of those different things, right? And I've been wanting to share this spreadsheet with everyone. However, several computers later, I can't find the file, so I'm going to have to create it from scratch, which is a process all of its own, which I will get to as soon as I finish all of the current projects, which we're going to talk about right now. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on here at Good Journeys Tarot, apart from the release of the deck today. The first thing is that beginning now I have to check my calendar because I don't know my dates off the top of my head. Beginning the 19th, every third Wednesday of the month, Kate Murrah from Group Tarot and myself are going to be hosting a casual get-together for tarot readers called Tarot Deck Diving, in which we invite people to bring their newest decks or their favorite decks and decks that they want to get to know better, to share with other people and to get in some practice with those decks that maybe you haven't had time with lately. And we are looking forward to that. It'll be over on Zoom, and next week, around Wednesday, I will have that link posted for you over on my link tree right under this link for the Good Journeys Tarot deck as one of the newest things going on here. So do keep that in mind. The link for the deck is also here at the top of my homepage for Good Journeys Tarot, if anyone has not seen it. All right, the next thing that's coming up is I am working on two different presentations, one for the World Divination Association's virtual event in October. You'll get a sneak peek at a little bit of that today when I talk about a secret hidden in my deck. And then in January, I will be at StarCon, and we will be talking about why I think everybody should do what I have just done and create a deck if they are reading the tarot. Join me for that conversation in January. Both of those events are virtual offerings. You may also attend in person in Florida for StarCon. I am also in the process of updating my Lenormand deck, which you'll also see there on Make Playing Cards, so that it is more branded to my other decks. And I say other decks because I am halfway through creating my Oracle deck, which I have been pretty quiet about working on. And so those are all of the projects that I'm going through right now. It's a busy time here. And that is just all of my divination exercises. That has nothing to do with the fact that I'm currently looking for a regular job to pay the bills, which will start this week. A very much more emphasis on that, right? Because I haven't really been looking. So today we're going to try something new, and we are going to see if we can get a down shot of my table. Yeah, I've been trying to figure this out for 2 years, and nobody could tell me how to do it. Nobody could tell me how to do it unless you paid for StreamYard, which, come to find out, My videos are a lot lower quality than I thought they were because StreamYard doesn't allow you to stream at a higher quality, even if your computer allows it or your camera allows it, without you paying a fortune. And I just don't have a fortune. So before we do that, when I started this process 15 years ago, I had pulled a card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. It was the Sun card. I've told this story before, and it occurred to me, oh my gosh, this is totally a particular scene in my life. And I thought, what other cards relate to specific times in my life? And so I began by putting all of the cards at the top of the pages in the notebook, and it's an 80-page notebook, so there were exactly enough pages for 78 cards and for me to make a mistake and rip a page out. And then as I came across things, I wrote them in the book. And as an example, here is our Fool. And you'll see I have a little note scribbled all over the place. Some of those from as I was taking classes or reading new books or those types of things. And then others where I actually sat down and I studied this specific card for a week in preparation for 78 cards in 78 weeks. The other thing I did was I would like sketch out ideas, things that I wanted to see in the card along the way. And in 15 years, I did 3 cards. And so we began with, I want to say, the 5 of Cups. Back in 2020 or 2021, and we started creating the deck. I have both the first print run that I did for test print that I did and the latest finished edition for you to see today. There's some just minor changes, and I want to share those with you. So you're not going to get to see my lovely face while we do this, but we are going to see if you can't hear my voice while we are viewing the cards. All right. If you're in the room, let me know if you don't hear me. This is a new experience for me. I've been trying to figure out how to do this forever, and I don't have quite the right setup to get it completely downshot and zoomed in, but it's something, and I'm excited about it. So the first thing that's changed since the first print run that I did and the adjusted cards is that I did shrink the sunflower a little bit because I felt like part of the name of the deck was disappearing into the sunflower. It's a minor change, not really big at all. And, but there it is. So let's take the cards out of our tin. I had fully intended for you to be able to purchase the deck in the tin, but I ran into a issue with Make Playing Cards in that they wouldn't let me put 80 cards in a tin. They would only let me put 78. And some people kind of wanted the 2 extra cards. And I know some people have very specific ways they like to store their decks, and perhaps they don't want a tin. They want a Kelly Bear bag or a Peggy bag, or they want to make their own little box or way to keep it. And so I was like, I'll sell the cards separate and then I'll sell the 10 in case people want it. But I'm still waiting to hear back from Make Playing Cards as to why the 10 is not available for me to make available for sale at the moment. You'll notice that I did correct the card back. I was in such a rush of the first printing, I didn't realize it was not centered. So it is now as centered as it's going to be using the templates from Make Playing Cards and my computer skills. So I'm going to flip these over, and we're just going to flip through this deck, and I'll show you the changes as we come to it. I wish I could zoom in closer for you. There is our Fool card. Not a thing changed on it. Our Magician, the only thing that changed was my elemental correspondence. It's one of the cards in the major arcana, like Temperance and maybe 1 or 2 other, where people don't agree all the time on its elemental dignity. And for me, I've always pictured the Magician as fire because there is that active manifestation energy there. But the more I read and I study, the more that I go back to air. And so I did switch it to air in the final printing. The High Priestess did not change. The Empress did not change. Almost looks pink there, but that is a bright red. I don't know why the camera is showing it pink. That's interesting. Can't wait to see other people's flip throughs of the deck and hear what they have to say about it. The wheel, I realized for some reason I forgot to put the Roman numeral on, so I did correct that for you guys. All of these cards we have seen in the numerous 78 cards in 78 weeks videos. I say this camera is just not doing them justice at all. They are much more vibrant than it's showing. And I think that's because of that quality issue with free StreamYard. So please do go back and look at the pictures on Instagram of the cards if you are concerned about the colors at all, because they're not quite right here. Also, if you have any questions about what is in a card or why the card is the way it is, we do have a video for every card as I went through making them for you to see, and until the guidebook is available. Initially, I had decided to do the guidebook after the deck because of having a job, right? And just not having enough time to do everything. And but the more that I study the tarot and I practice it and I work with new decks, the more I feel like it's actually a good thing to grab a deck and work with it for a while before you ever crack a book. Find out what it is that you think about the images, what it is that it says to you, how it speaks to you, before you actually open the book and see what the author had to say. I do love the cardstock. In a minute, I'll show you how it shuffles. It is a standard linen from Make Playing Cards, and it is bordered. I actually like a little border on my cards. Here's a card that I changed, and I thought I had these in order, but I guess I didn't. This was the last card that we did, and you'll see I just lowered my person and flag a little bit on the card. I also corrected another problem, which isn't as obvious, and that is that I actually had a filter over this image, and I only put it over part of the woman. And so that's been corrected as well here in this final version, which I quite love. So this card, it really kind of disturbed me when I got this one. And this woman here kind of blends in with the church. And so I did make some color adjustments to get the colors like I wanted them. And so that the characters popped more with the church. So that is a thing that I had to update as well. This is by far my favorite card in the deck. I hope that you guys will share your favorites as you are obtaining the deck and checking it out. There's also a full flip through of the deck from when we finished it. Look at me. I am not focusing, am I? I'm doing cards different ways. All right. was originally my intention just to show you the cards that had changed, but for those of you who have never seen the deck, I thought I would show you the cards. This is a card that I debated about changing over and over and over again. Again, the colors are kind of washed out here, but it's a more vibrant red than it's looking there. This is the Queen of Fire, or Queen of Wands, and I was very uncomfortable with this image for a number of reasons. But then something happened in my personal life that made me go, okay, yeah, I'm going to stick with this. And so I didn't end up changing her, even though I debated about it for a long time. This was the first card that I did, and it has undergone so many transformations, but I'm glad we didn't have to change it yet again. All right, this card was another one where in the initial printing, there were some things that bothered me regarding the coloring. If you look, each of those drinks and bottles has a symbol on it, and a couple of them are almost impossible to make out in this version of the card. So I have gone in, and you'll see where I've darkened those up. This camera just really is not doing this justice. I'm so disappointed. Another card that changed several times was this one. This is actually not the final version of this card. The only thing that has changed on this card is that deacon symbol at the top. I forever am messing up the symbols for Gemini and Pisces, and this one has the wrong symbol. So that has been corrected on the version that is available for sale now. I make playing cards. Also, all of the cards that had the moon in it, I had to update because there was like this little mark on the moon that made it look like a toy or fake or something. And so I went through and I did remove that little mark on all of the cards. And the last card that I actually made a change to was the Knight of Cups. I did make the knight a little larger. They just looked a little bit too much like a child here and not enough like a teen or young adult. And so I just made them a little larger for those of you who had seen the deck. So really the only suit I did not have a change in of any kind was the Earth suit. And it is pretty much exactly like it was when I showed you the first test print. Eventually, hopefully, I will have the funds to get me a copy of the deck as it appears to you guys with that corrected deacon. But for now, we'll play with this one. And here are our 2 extra cards, which we talked about before, the Bless Your Heart card and the Hand Unicorn card. I really am not a fan of extra cards. Usually when I get them, it's normally telling me basically stop reading and act. And it's either telling me I need to go forth and do the thing I already know I need to do, which is why I put a Y in the corner there for yes. So this is our yes card. And then this one is N for no. So basically it's saying, look, stop asking about it. I already told you no. And so that's the 80 cards. And I promised you guys a secret. And this is something that I never intended. It just kind of happened. I'm going to show you how they shuffle real quick with the first print run because it's the exact same cards. It's very nice. I love linen cardstock. It really is great. All right. one of the things I did as I created the deck is that I had placed butterflies in some of the cards. And initially, I was only doing that in the major arcana. And I discovered something after I got the deck and I started pulling cards from it and looking at them. Give me one moment and I'll pull the cards out. Now, there are cards that use butterflies decoratively, but that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at those cards which actually had living butterflies in them. Ten being our number of completion or fulfillment, almost like there is a fifth suit hidden in the deck. And again, it was totally unintentional. I used the butterfly each time I came across the word transformation in studying and writing about the cards in the major arcana specifically. But then I also used the butterfly in my suit of air for my quartz and my ace. And here's what I find interesting about this is that because we only change when we gain new knowledge, right? And so it's interesting to me that the cards, which usually denote transformation in the majors, fall at the beginning of our 22 cards with our Fool, around the middle of our 22 cards with our run of transformation, where we gain enlightenment and then we have to put an end to certain things and integrate other things before we begin that last part of our journey. And then right before we complete and fulfill things, we have a last chance for evaluation and transformation. And this is something that I did, which I maybe I'm just in my head about it, but our beginning, new knowledge coming in to bring us enlightenment, to cause us to leave some things behind and integrate others. And then we continue to learn, right? And we start to act upon the things that we know. And we begin to nurture those ideas and make them integrated into our life before we become an authority on them, right? And we begin to share them with others and show others what we know and what we've learned. And then we have that one last chance once we become an authority to reevaluate, to people and fine tune everything before we reach the world and the completion of our whole process. And it was interesting to me to see the story of transformation unfold. We see the Fool's journey all the time with the 22 cards, but it was interesting to me to see how the cards where I had chosen to put butterflies fit together into another story and almost other suit within the deck, which was completely unintentional, but I did enjoy that. So regarding the guidebook, it is going to be available in October. I'm still actively working on that. As you see me post on Instagram and Facebook about the meanings of cards, that's where I am actually completing those entries for those cards. And so you'll note that I have already done the major arcana, the ones, the twos, the threes, and the fours. Over the next 3 weeks, I'll be finishing up the pip cards, and then we will do the court cards. And finally, I will wrap up writing the book. And I'm excited to see what other people have to say about the deck and to share their thoughts about the deck. If you do, don't forget to tag me or use the hashtag Good Journeys Tarot so that I can find your post videos, conversations about the deck. And feel free to invite me to join you for any of those conversations. I would really look forward to that and appreciate that. I'd like to see what things you might have discovered as you're reading with it that I hadn't noticed, like this journey of transformation that we just talked about. I want to thank those of you who popped in today and checked out the video. Again, if you'd like to see much more clear images than StreamYard has allowed me today, hop on over to Instagram or to TikTok and look for my flip throughs of the decks. If you notice any card video missing as you are trying to figure out what I did with the cards, let me know and I will find it and add that hashtag that I was using. Yes, I like the black borders, Amanda. I think that to me, it kind of, because these are digital images, I like the idea that this is almost like a screen, you know, it's like our phone that we carry everywhere, or it's like our computer, right? And we see that clear image there within the frame. And it actually was a compromise for me. I initially didn't intend to do borders, but just logistically on the Make Playing Cards site, it was easier for me to create the image I wanted with a border than without a border. Mainly because I did almost a third of the deck before I tested them on Make Playing Cards, and I didn't want to go back and redo them all. But I'm more of a border person, especially if it's a tasteful border. Like this one's very thin and it's black, and I like that it frames the cards versus a white border just kind of looks like it's not there for a purpose. It's just there. I don't know. It feels like a page of paper, right? A book image, whereas this has more that screen image, which we're so familiar with. Thank you guys for popping in. Until I see you next time, good journeys.